I'm born and raised St. Pete, grew up in Shore Acres to my two wonderful parents, John and Sherry. They both kind of share the entrepreneurial spirit. We were heavily involved in community. My dad was president of Northeast Little League. My mom was the team mom and head of concessions, and our house growing up was where everybody kind of got to crash land, and it was a big family affair. My grandmother moved here in the 60s. She got remarried and was able to open a beauty salon here in downtown St. Pete. And then my dad moved down here in the early 80s, and he met my mom at what was then Empire of America Bank back over there right by the Kawa drive-thru on 38th Avenue. And I was very blessed growing up to have a good mom and dad that both worked hard, that were entrepreneurs. Being in marketing Strikers was my first job. So I gotta say, I've been in customer service since I was 9 years old. I've been IDing people since I was 9 years old. Imagine getting turned away for a pack of smokes by a 10-year-old kid. My dad had a catastrophic heart attack in January of 1998. My parents divorced. It just really kind of changed a lot of the course of our life, and we had a really hard time. It's our perfect, happy little modern family went to this family full of grief. He went from being this very strong, capable businessman to having to live on a fixed income and not being able to work. And I just remember being angry. I was angry, and around that time I started getting in trouble, messed around with drugs and some of the wrong crowd. And one of the turning points in my life was September of 2006. I got pulled over for speeding and got arrested for DUI and possession of cocaine. That night was the longest night of my life. I remember sitting there thinking it's going to take me 10 years to earn this back, to build up my trust. I just remember sitting there thinking, like, I've got to get myself together. I've got to dive into work, and I've got to get on the right track. One of the great things that ever happened to me was getting a job at Corrigan's Irish Pub here in downtown St. Pete, and bought him a Bayfront Tower, the first condominium tower they ever built in St. Pete, and right by Allang Field that I used to go to the St. Pete Cardinals games growing up. And in 5 short years, I had kind of got myself back together, and all of a sudden I was the GM of a little bar in downtown St. Pete, and I was there until 2015, and that was kind of where it was time for me to start working on my own thing. And so in September of 2006, I got into all my big trouble, and by September of 2016, we had the money, we had the business plan, and we had signed a lease to open up the Galley of St. Pete Tavern. And writing those first paychecks was one of the greatest things that I ever did, to seeing the smiles of those first employees. And the Galley is very much a part of St. Pete now, and that was a really big deal to me. My story is a comeback story. St. Pete's story is a comeback story. And there's no better place to call home. There's no better place to raise a family. There's no better place to do business in. And I think St. Pete needs to be taken care of the right way. People need to have a mentality of St. Pete first. It can't be about the next political step, the next office. It needs to be about St. Pete first, and that's what I want to do. And I think career politicians and partisan politics don't sound like progress to me. Politics as usual is not progress. The millennials are the entrepreneurs in St. Pete. The millennials are the ones raising a family here in St. Pete. We're the ones that are going to be here for the next 40 years, and it's time for our generation to assume their role in government and in every corner of this country, and to try to make a difference and try to build a strong legacy for our kids and lay the foundation for a great 21st century St. Pete.